I'd like you to imagine your dream life. See the version of you who has what you want to have, feels how you want to feel, and is who you want to be. I'm Brittany Hoops, your hypnotherapist and manifestation coach, and this is the show where I'll teach you to master the full power of your mind, to guide you on your journey towards Destination Manifestation.
Take a step back.
Hello there, travelers. Welcome to another episode of Destination Manifestation. And today, I hope you're feeling extra frisky. Do you consider yourself to be a rebellious person? I hope so, because we're going to need some of that rebellion for today's episode. You know, I find it so interesting. I think when we think of spirituality, oftentimes we picture these perfectly silent meditators, meditating on loving kindness at these silent, fancy meditation retreats. And trust me, that's all well and good. I've never been to a silent meditation retreat. I've been to like a meditation and hypnosis advanced workshop sort of thing, but never where we had to be silent. But I know a lot of people do that, and I got nothing against it. But I feel like this image paints modern spirituality in this very sort of passive light. When in actuality, I've found at least, that manifesting your goals and using your spiritual senses and your alignment to do so is actually an act of defiance. Now, I don't mean defiance in terms of like a violent sort of sense. There's no reason for violence here, but it takes you standing up to that part of you that says that you can't do it and saying, no, you're wrong. You know, I found myself doing this even the other day. I woke up on a Monday morning and I was just like, this week, I'm not falling into that old, outdated self-concept that thinks that this big goal of mine is huge and impossible. I'm refusing to live as her this week. I'm just not going to do it. This week, we're thinking it is possible. And it's like I just had to kind of like, no, bring it back. Go back. It's like training a puppy. It's like, no, put your paw here. And as soon as it moves, it's like, no, put your paw here. It's like a parent who has to use their like strict voice, their I mean business voice, so that their toddler will actually listen to them. We have to be that way with our subconscious mind sometimes. Sometimes we gotta step up. And that takes guts. That takes assertiveness. That takes decision and power. Nothing passive about any of that at all. So today I kind of wanted to challenge both myself and you to create an advanced manifestor's manifesto. Try to say that 3 times fast. Basically a set of principles where there's an opportunity for us to highlight some of the key things we as manifestors need to rebel against in order to align to our potential. Okay. These are things that I personally prioritize, both when it comes to the way that I live my life and how I manifest my goals, but also the way in which I run my business. When I first started my business, I saw what was out there and I kind of just thought, no, no, people with big dreams need something more. I wasn't finding what felt like the good fit, what felt like what I needed. And, that's kind of been one of my greatest accomplishments in life so far. It's looking at the way that I do hypnotherapy, looking at the products and the services that I offer and saying, yes, this is what I wish I could sign up for. Like, this is what I needed, but didn't exist back then. And now I can offer it to others. And, some people, I'm not their cup of tea, but other people, this work has been what they've been waiting for too. And it's when we meet and when, I attract them and they attract me into their lives that it's like this beautiful thing begins to happen. And that's one of the coolest things when I'll be talking to clients and they'll be like, I really feel like I manifested you into my life, you specifically, because I had something to offer that wasn't out there. I had a moment like this just the other day where I was recording a hypnotherapy audio for the upcoming Manifested Me Vault. I'm launching this new subscription membership. It's called the Manifested Me Vault. It's filled with hypnotherapy session. It's like a hypnotherapy session library that's purely focused on manifestation. And I like that because, of course, there are plenty of hypnosis audio subscriptions and apps out there. Those are a dime a dozen. But they usually don't focus exclusively on manifestation and helping you live your purpose. They might have like one or two audios that focus on goal setting or manifestation, but everything else is about helping you overcome bad habits or other topics, usually related to helping you sleep or lose weight or stop smoking or something like that, right? But in the Manifested Me Vault, these aren't just audios, they're full hypnotherapy sessions. In fact, I hesitate to even call them audios, even though they technically are audio tracks. But I think when you hear the word audio, you think, oh, this means it's just like kind of this passive thing, like a YouTube meditation or something. No. These are different. Okay. These require something from you. In fact, I'm designing these to be very similar to the types of sessions that I do one-on-one with my hypnotherapy, and coaching clients, my private clients. These sessions require real-time transformation from you as you listen. And of course, some of the sessions are more passive in nature, especially those that are designed to be listened to as you sleep. But most of the sessions are going to require you to do some deep uncovering and, almost as if you had a hypnotherapy or even a traditional talk therapy session sort of on demand. You'll want to pick up your journal. You'll want to journal and jot down your thoughts afterwards. You'll want to process it. You want to put those learnings into action. And that's the thing that I did the other day. I was testing one of these sessions from the vault. It was the chakra cleansing session. So once you join the vault, you'll know which one it is. And I was testing it as I was recording it for you. And there's this moment where in the session, I lead you into the library of your mind where your intuition resides. And during that session, I just got the strongest message about what to do next with this podcast and how to grow this podcast. And I realized that I had been prioritizing things like all out of order. Like there's been this one idea that I've been super excited about that I had been totally pushing off for like over a year now, I'm ashamed to say. And as soon as that session ended, meaning I stopped recording it, I went over and I ran to my to-do list. I reprioritized some things for this year. And it felt so good. Like, because there's a distinct connection between the work that we do at the subconscious level in the 5D plane of existence in our inner minds, right? The energetic plane, and then how we put that learning into action in our 3D reality. That's what I mean when I say that we go in hypnosis, we take what exists in the 5D and then we bring it back into your 3D reality. That's how we bridge this subconscious work into our manifested reality. And so this reprioritization, which was directly instructed from my intuition, you might even say from the universe, from source, that action is what will bring my manifestation of growing the show even further to life. And so after that session, I was just kind of like so freaking grateful that session exists, and also kind of tickled that I could create something that also, I'm always surprised when I surprise myself with these things, because it's like I wrote this and yet it helped me uncover something I didn't know before. But that's just the power of the subconscious mind. And I was just so grateful that it exists. Even if it's just for my own listening, I was grateful that it exists. Even if I'm my only customer, which is not going to be the case. But it's because there's nothing else out there like this vault. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of creating something that doesn't yet exist. Of course, there are other manifestation programs, sure, but a lot of them just include meditations or tapping sessions. And, those are fine. They're great. I've had success with those too. But meditation only accesses the alpha brainwave state. It's a lighter brainwave state than theta, which is what we experience during hypnosis. So today I want you to use this episode as sort of a way to make some serious decisions about your life and about your future. Okay? I want you to step into your advanced manifesting powers. And I want you to step up. I want you to step up into your power. And I want you to say, I'm no longer tolerating that old way of thinking, that old way of doing, and I'm up leveling instead. That's the challenge. Are you ready for the challenge? I think you are, because to overcome resistance to your manifestation, you need to match its power in the equal and the opposite direction. Okay? If resistance is super strong, you have to be super strong in your belief. And, that requires power. You need to set boundaries. You need to say no more. Put your foot down. Say, no, I'm the creator. I decide the direction of my life. No more passively sitting around. No more being like, oh, well, that would be nice. No, I want to rile you up. I want you to raise your voice. I want you to step into your power. Okay? So first, stepping into your power means that you're done with that overly surface level mindset work and those quick fixes. Meh. We're throwing those out. No more scraping the surface here, folks. No more watered down mass market coaching. We're over it. Those are platitudes. No more reading all the books, scrolling through manifestation TikTok, learning some nice ideas, but then not doing anything about it. You guys know I'm a manifestation coach. I follow a freak ton of different mindset and manifestation coaches and programs and teachers online. I love to keep a pulse of what's out there. And I'll admit, I get a little riled up. I get a little frustrated when my entire Instagram feed is just sort of filled with these surface level conscious mind affirmations or platitudes with all this really vague manifestation advice. Like, I get why they pop up so much. They're shareable, right? You scroll through Instagram, you're not really paying attention. You read an inspiring quote, you think, oh my God, that's my life right now. And you reshare it, and then the algorithm just rewards that, right? Like, I get why it's being shown a lot, but personally, I have zero interest in the surface level. I just don't. And I'm kind of like that in all aspects of my life, really. It makes sense why I operate this way when it comes to manifestation, too. I have always been the kind of person who would rather have one single friend that I could have a deep conversation with versus 10 friends where we can only talk about the weather, right? I have zero interest or time for surface level because surface level isn't useful. There's no utility there. There's no mindset shifts there. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've really found a home here with this podcast, because it's here where we can go deep. You can actually learn something. You can apply something. That's also why I'm super excited for this Manifested Me Vault, because I no longer have to try to describe these hypnotherapy techniques to you. I can say, hey, here's where you can go and you can actually experience that transformation yourself. Not only are you learning about it, but you can apply it. And that's also why I'm drawn to hypnotherapy, because it addresses the deep subconscious reprogramming. I want you to go to the source, okay? I want your life to change. I don't want you to simply learn about change. I mean, learning about change is helpful if you're going to help other people change, maybe, but just to learn about it doesn't do anything. I want you to actually experience the change. Hypnotherapy works at the subconscious level to produce real and lasting change, deep inner transformation. I mean, it's kind of like, imagine that your computer was sort of acting up, right? It's kind of fritzing out. And what you wouldn't do is you wouldn't just turn off the screen and be like, there, it's fixed. No, that's a Band-Aid. The problem's still there. It's just now the screen's off, so you can't see it, right? No, you need to go deep into the hardware, deep into the software. You need to change it, update it, fix it, reprogram it. That is the kind of lasting change that we do at the subconscious level. So when you combine a tool like hypnotherapy that allows you to do that, and then you mix it with what we know about manifestation, that's when you can literally shift those inner blocks. And then rather than reading some surface level quote that motivates you for a second until you scroll on to the next thing, right? We take in so much information. That's like the biggest qualm I have about social media and, all kinds of media is that we take in all this information, but what does it do for us? It doesn't do anything unless we apply it. And that's why I love the podcast and why historically, although I will admit I have some fun new ideas in the works to fix my own mindset on this, but historically I've kind of struggled with Instagram and TikTok and creating content from there because it's very difficult for a person to craft their reality with a 90-second clip. I'm kind of like, what's the point here? If we aren't going to go deep, I don't want to waste your time or mine. I'm curious, can you relate to this? Like, I'm very passionate about this subject. I'm curious if you find yourself feeling the same way. No more small talk, right? And it's another reason why I kind of really focus on one thing in my business. And I really do that one thing very well. Did I tell you guys a story about how I asked ChatGPT? I was like, ChatGPT, send me a list of manifestation hypnotherapists. I did this a couple months ago because I was curious to see, who else was out there. I wanted to follow them online, meet some colleagues, meet some friends, maybe have them on the show, I just had never really stumbled upon any hypnotherapists that really had niched down and focused just on manifestation like I had, even though so many manifestation principles, utilize the tool of hypnotherapy. It's just that no one was really calling it that yet. And ChatGPT spits out and it's like, sure, here's one. Her name is Brittany Hoops, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of cracked up because I was like, okay, I know that. It's me. And it was kind of the first moment that I realized that I was like, wow, this is either really good or really bad. I'm going to decide it's really good. But it was the moment I realized that I was offering something really unique. Something that was actually super specialized. It was the direct application of hypnotherapy for manifestation. The culmination of 17 years that I've spent studying the law of attraction, the culmination of helping all my clients up until that point. I actually counted yesterday. I have over 100 testimonials from my clients now of how they've learned how to step into their power and to create the kind of lives that they want to live. And that's such an honor to be able to help and help them and facilitate that and to witness all that. And you just don't get there with platitudes. That isn't surface level stuff. Real, tangible results, like using hypnotherapy and subconscious reprogramming and manifestation coaching, when you combine all of those, that's what creates real shifts. Not just temporary, oh, here, I'm going to like this quote kind of motivation, right? That's just, it's out with the next thing, the next moment you keep scrolling. And one of my favorite things that I like to do over time to kind of help keep this top of mind is once I finish working with a one-on-one client, I have a calendar set up where I'll just periodically check in with them over time. Maybe a month after, 3 months after, 6 months after, a year, whatever it may be. And I love to hear how their manifestations are continuing to unfold. In fact, I just heard from a client recently. It was a year after when she did one single hypnotherapy session. That was it. And she had lost 50 pounds as a result of the shift that she had made during that session. And I was like, wow, I mean, look at that. That's something that she wouldn't have, and we wouldn't have wanted this to happen, right? We wouldn't have wanted her to lose 50 pounds the day after the session. That would have been very scary. But it took, yes, a year, but it was the catalyst for that shift. And that decision was that session. And here was a session that was just 90 minutes long, right? It was just a single 90-minute segment of her life. But the lasting impact of that was 365 days. The lasting impact was countless workouts, countless choices later, right? That's lasting change. And a quote ain't gonna do that for you. Not typically, right? So here's another thing us advanced manifestors really find ourselves rebelling against, okay? We rebel against hustle and grind success models. Hustle and grind. I flinch when I say it. Now, I'm going to admit something that I'm so deeply ashamed of here, okay? Can you believe, like, over a decade ago, I was a total hustle and grind, like, girl boss girl. Ugh, I'm ashamed to admit it. But like in 2013, like that was my jam. And I think that's when it was more of a thing anyways. But really, I was that way until I learned a better way. And I think it can just be really disheartening for a lot of people to look at those traditional personal development, coaches and to go into that space and to hear, miracle morning this, and I'm up at 4:30 a.m., success never sleeps, and like all these successful people who are successful. So you like are inclined to listen to them, right? And they glorify hustle culture. They wear their exhaustion and their busyness like it's some sort of badge of honor. I think because it makes them feel like they're more important somehow. They push through resistance at any cost. And I know that when I would look to them, I would just feel so inadequate. Like I wouldn't be motivated. I would just feel so down on myself. I'd be like, shit, I do that for like 2 days and I'm exhausted, right? I'm miserable. I can't keep up. And then in turn, that would sort of make me assume that, oh, well, I guess this means I can't be successful at all until I learned another way. Okay. And that's why my approach now is rooted in alignment, is rooted in shifting the energy, shifting into that energy of success and then moving through the world in that way, which this requires reprogramming your subconscious mind so that any action you take is more productive and easier. Not that it's necessarily going to be easy, but that it's filled with a sense of ease, right? It's easier rather than just pushing and doing more. Because let me tell you the truth, you could push all you want. You can do, and you can be like a little hamster on a wheel going nowhere. And there's nothing more disheartening than that. And advanced manifestors know that it's not about the amount of action you take. It's the energy in which you take that action. I'm going to say that again. Okay. It is not about the amount of action you take. It's the energy in which you take that action. So people who really resonate with the whole hustle and grind culture, because there are plenty of them. In fact, I have some good friends that actually really, that's their jam. That energy, if they do resonate with it, is super aligning to them. Okay. That's why they think that it's that created their results. Right. And so they had the belief, okay, I have to hustle in order to be successful. And therefore, when they hustled, then they found success. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's their belief at work. And what I'm trying to say is that it's not the hustle and grind that makes a success. It's the belief that makes a success. So if you want to believe that this can be easy for you and you don't have to hustle and grind, that is equally as valid. It probably feels a whole lot better too. Okay. But when people are in hustle and grind culture and they believe it and they do it and they find success, that just simply means that they were in alignment with their beliefs. But it doesn't mean that it has to be that way or that way is most aligning to you. I personally don't wake up to an alarm. I naturally wake up each day around 8:30, sometimes 8 a.m., sometimes 9 a.m. I mean, that is a full 4 hours later. That is half a night later than these hustle and grind gurus would suggest, right? I get a full extra half night of sleep. And yet, I have plenty of success. It's alignment over hustle. Instead of forcing the action against what feels good to you, I much rather help you align your subconscious beliefs to your desire. I much rather ask you, well, how would you like to go about this? If you could have anything you wanted, and we just need to get your beliefs aligned to it, what would you want this experience to be like? And then let's help you believe that it's possible to do it that way. So let's make sure you're feeling good. Let's make sure that you're drawn to actions that feel good, that you're enjoying the process, you're enjoying the journey, and you're enjoying your life. That's the point of all of this. And therefore, the action that you take will then be inspired and it will feel natural and effortless to you. Those are kind of the dominoes that we set up and we want to flick so that everything else just, goes do, right down the line. Why not live in that way? This kind of got me thinking. My husband and I, we just finished watching, it's kind of an old show. I mean, actually, it is an old show from like the early 2000s. It's called 6 Feet Under. I don't know if you ever watched that back in the day. We were low on good TV, so we decided to watch it. And the show, it's all about death, right? This family works in a funeral home. And of course, like life, some people die sooner, some people die later, that's just how life goes. And it made me think about how we aren't necessarily guaranteed to live long enough to see the completion of our goals. We just aren't, right? And I know that's a morbid thought, but it's true. Nothing is guaranteed. And so there's this one character, and this character dies. I won't ruin it for you, even though the show has been finished for more than 2 decades. But this character dies what some might consider early. And I thought, yikes. Like, if that were to happen to anyone, and this character was like in the middle of a project, right? They were mid-goal, mid-manifestation, because we're always creating. If that happened and you died and you were mid-goal, would you be able to look back on the life that you did live and say that you enjoyed and that you lived it fully, even though you didn't finish that last goal there, right? Because the point here is we can't wait for the manifestation to come to have that statement be true. We simply can't. We need every moment on that manifestation journey, on your journey towards destination manifestation. Every moment needs to be just as good and aligned and expansive as the actual accomplishment itself. And I learned that lesson the hard way when I was planning my dream wedding. The wedding day itself, oh my God, chef's kiss, right? Amazing. Best day of my life so far, hands down. But the planning process? I was a downright bridezilla, I'll admit it. Like all this unhealed stuff just like came up to the surface back then. And of course, looking back on it now, I just sort of wish I would have spent that year or even more planning. I wish I would have spent it in a place of alignment, of enjoying myself, rather than just saving that enjoyment for one singular wedding day, right? So as manifestors, we don't push through at any cost because the cost of alignment is too great of a cost to pay. It's the cost of the experience of your life. And we're not willing to pay that cost. So here's another thing I'm going to challenge you on as an advanced manifestor, okay? Here's something I'm going to challenge you to renounce today. Renounce rigid manifestation dogma. Ugh. Like, what does that even mean? Ugh. Manifestation is not religion, people, and it's not a replacement for religion either. It's spiritual, but it's not religious. Okay. And I think because, religion's been around forever and many manifestors grew up with religious backgrounds. I know I certainly did. I grew up Catholic. It can be easy for some manifestation coaches to sort of want to naturally fall into that framework, right? Trying to put some boundaries, trying to put some formula to it, trying to make it more concrete and give it some rules so that we can make sense of it. But I found that overly prescriptive and one-size-fits-all sort of manifestation techniques or approaches, as nice as they are and as marketable as they are, and as much as we want to gobble them up and we're looking for them, they just don't really work. I mean, they work for some people, but they don't work for others. And then you kind of find yourself with these coaches that have these like formula, follow my manifestation formula. And they'll give you all the testimonials, of their master technique, but they only show you the stories for the people that it worked for, right? How many testimonials are missing of the people where it didn't work? And that's another reason why I tend to lean towards something like hypnotherapy, because it's an open-ended technique. It's not a formula, okay? Yes, it's a tool, but it's a tool that your own subconscious mind guides and uses. I could use the same technique. Let's take a pretty common hypnotherapy technique. It's called parts therapy. It's a technique where you talk to the part of you that has resistance on whatever it is that you're working on, right? Maybe it's the part of you that fears public speaking. It's the part of you that fears flying. It's the part of you that eats too many snacks after dinner. It's the part of you that doubts you can grow your business. We're all made of millions of different parts, and the opportunities to understand those parts are endless. So I could use that technique on every single one of my clients if I decided to, and I oftentimes do, because it's a powerful technique. And no two sessions are ever going to be alike. Even if I'm talking to one client, the part that's anxious, and then the very next session, I talk to another client we talk to their part that's anxious, right? They're never going, even those two parts are never going to be the same because it's the client's own unique subconscious mind that guides the session. I don't guide the session. I just help the client translate what their subconscious mind is telling and teaching them. And I always say, I'm the conductor of the orchestra, but you are the one playing the instrument. So the music that you produce is going to be unique to you. And that's why it's such an effective form of therapy. You don't have to wonder if the hypnotherapist gets you or if you guys click or, like you might have to with a traditional talk therapist. You might have a traditional talk therapist that you just don't really get along with and you want to switch, right? It's not the therapist who's doing the therapy. The therapist just allows you to tap into your own mind and say, so that you can say, hey, mind, what do I need right now? It's you telling you how to heal because you've always had the answers inside of you. You just may have not had the tool that would let you get in touch with those answers. And that's what I do. I kind of feel like I'm one of those 1960s like telephone operators, like my job is to help connect the line from you to you to ensure that there's a strong connected line to facilitate that. But it's also why formulas, master techniques, one size fits all manifestation exercises, they just don't work for everyone because they don't account for your personal subconscious blocks and the nuances that you bring. And I want to try to challenge this in the work that I do because, I merge science-backed hypnotherapy tools with spiritual manifestation principles, universal laws, right? And so when you combine those two and then you introduce that vital third element, which is you, that's when you can discover what you need and what works best for you. No two clients are ever alike. It certainly makes my job very interesting, which I appreciate. I tend to work with women and some men. I will say this. I would say more men than a lot of my peers, which, is interesting. I'm not really sure why. But there's only really one thing that most of my clients have in common. I tend to work with folks who want big things. They want big things and they're willing to invest in themselves. And I don't necessarily mean monetarily, although that is oftentimes a part of it, right? To work one-on-one together, it does require a substantial investment. Although the Manifested Me Vault is going to be sort of a wonderful alternative for those who aren't ready to invest in one-on-one just yet. But I mean that they're willing to put in the time to change. When I say you need to invest in yourself, that's what I mean. You're willing to listen to the hypnotherapy audios each night because you understand that your brain needs repetition to learn new beliefs. You're willing to choose yourself again and again because you know that your dreams are worth it. You're willing to not give up on yourself, even if you fall off the wagon. Even if you get off course, you're going to get back on course again, right? They are ready and willing. And then my job just sort of simply becomes helping them ensure that they're doing that in an energetically aligned way. Like we discussed before, they're doing that in a way where they can enjoy their life. And the manifestation just sort of feels like this cherry on top. They aren't deferring their joy until they get some magical end result. No, they're enjoying their joy now. That's pretty powerful. So what else should we say that us advanced manifestors rebel against? Well, I'll give you a big one. We rebel against spiritual bypassing and toxic positivity. Can I get an amen? No, actually, keep your amen. This isn't religion. But you know what I mean, right? Manifestation work that ignores deeper emotional and subconscious wounds by telling people, just think positive, or all you got to do is raise your vibration. That is very harmful. Okay? Because to deny an emotion, and I mean any emotion, good, bad, ugly, or in between, it's just going to make that emotion bark louder at you. It's just going to try to get your attention even more. We talk about this in an episode a couple episodes ago. It was titled The Only Way to Stop Negative Emotions from Blocking Your Manifestations. We've learned that you have to listen to them. We have to rewire those deep-seated beliefs at the subconscious level. You can't just sort of mask it and put a Band-Aid of positive thinking on it. And that's why I find that most of my one-on-one hypnotherapy and coaching programs, which right now they're designed to be 6 sessions each, right? I find that the first 3 sessions, we spend that time uncovering, healing, rewiring. And then the final 3 sessions, and again, this is me generalizing. Sometimes it's a 2-4 split. Sometimes it's a 3-3 split. Sometimes it's a 5-1 split. It really depends on the person. No one size fits all. But usually by the 3rd out of the 6 sessions, that's when we can start getting into the vibration raising, the positivity stuff. But if you don't take that time to excavate and heal and clear and listen and understand, if you don't do that shadow work piece, it's just very toxic. And that's one of my favorite manifestation colleagues. Her name is Catherine Zinkina. She goes by Manifestation Babe. She uses a very colorful analogy for this. She says she calls it putting glitter on shit. Right? You can put glitter on shit, but it is still shit. You can't just sprinkle glitter on it and expect it to smell nice. It's that process of uncovering that's going to be so unique to each person. Again, there's no such thing as a rigid formula. I know we love formulas. We love nicely packaged little answers, but it's a deeply subconscious process that's tailored to each individual. And that's kind of been, I won't say one of the challenges, although it is challenging, but it's challenging in a fun way. I've really put that at the forefront when I've been designing the sessions for the Manifesto Me Vault, right? I've really made them as open-ended as possible to account for that. So sure, like if you want to manifest health, then I probably would say don't listen to one of the wealth and money sessions, right? Because that's not the topic. But about 75% of the sessions in this upcoming Manifested Me Vault are open-ended for any manifestation, for any belief or any block that needs to be released. And that's one of the reasons why I tested each session I recorded with a minimum of 3 different types of manifestations. I wanted to see it from all angles. I wanted to make sure that the technique was just as powerful no matter what you're bringing to the table, so that I knew it could stand up to all the many unique ways that it could be used and all the many unique people that will use them. And that's a tricky thing to design, let me tell you. But that's the piece that I feel like separates these audios from just being like a traditional like hypnotherapy script that's a one-size-fits-all approach versus a true replicated one-on-one hypnotherapy and coaching experience, which I'm super proud to provide in the vault. And I might even say this, okay? I'm going to leave you with one last sort of element and principle to our manifesto. This is most importantly what I think of an advanced manifestor stands for. You stand for depth and fun in the process. Yes, of course, we are going to take our dreams seriously, but the journey is intended to feel fun, to feel magical, to feel empowering. Stress and overwhelm, it has zero place here. Not on your journey. And I think that's one of the reasons why hypnotherapy tends to work so well for people. It's because the actual technique, the actual practice of it is very enjoyable. Like you get to sit back, you get to lay down, you get to cuddle up in your blankie and on your bed, you get to relax. I mean, it feels like you're watching like your own dream, or like it's like you're watching a movie when you're semi-awake. It's fun. It's enlightening. It's oftentimes surprising. Sometimes it might make you giggle or laugh or see something in a brand new light. The sensations that accompany it feel amazing. Like, I mean, have you ever had an out-of-body experience? Like, I mean, out of body experiences don't happen every single hypnotherapy session. At least it doesn't for me. But I've had a handful of them and it is amazing. Like, it is one of my most favorite things. This is a tool that literally alters your consciousness. And it's drug free, okay? It's drug free, it's sober, it's natural, but it's an altered form of reality. And it's so much freaking fun to spend time in this infinite space. And so no wonder people like myself, people like my clients, my students, they want to do that again and again. It's a hobby for them. I mean, it's kind of like when you find a workout that you actually really enjoy, right? You're more likely to stick with it. And then when you stick with it, you're more likely with that repetition to see the result that you're looking for, whether it be weight loss or increased strength or whatever you want, right? You need to enjoy the process to stick with the process. So if you hate the workout, you're probably not going to stick with it very long. And hypnotherapy, in essence, is a mental workout. So it works because it requires your repetition. It requires you sticking with it. But it's easy to repeat something if you enjoy doing it. In fact, you want to repeat it every day. And that's one of the reasons why in this Manifesto Me Vault, I'm launching the vault with over 20 different hypnotherapy sessions, but I'll be continually adding new ones along the way, right? And even those 20 sessions, since so many of them are open-ended, you could listen to one session with one manifestation in mind, then you could listen to it again with a different goal in mind, and it would be a completely different experience for you. It's important for me to keep something like this new, novel, exciting, interesting, fun, because when it's all those things, that's when you're going to stick with it, right? And then when you listen again and again and again, when you stick with it, that's when you start to see shifts, not only in your mindset, but also in the 3D reality around you. That's manifestation, right? So that is my advanced manifesto. Is there anything I missed here? I'm sure there are more principles to include. And I would love to hear from you and what you would like to add to it. But I can pretty much guarantee you, if you stand up against those things that we discussed here today, and you replace them with those advanced manifestor alternatives that we proposed here. And if you stand in your truth and you stand in your power and you make the decision to be the kind of person you want to be, your manifestations are inevitable. It's just fact, right? Now, I know I talked a lot about the tools that can help you along the way here, namely the subconscious reprogramming via hypnotherapy, right? Because that's one of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal. Now, the Manifesto Me Vault, it's going to be filled with tools, but it's not open quite yet, okay? I'm halfway through recording the sessions for it, and it will be here before you know it. I promise you, I'm aiming for April. But in the meantime, I got something even better for you, okay? If you're listening to this episode on the very day that it airs, which I kind of like that that's the case, considering it sort of rewards the people who are the early adopters, the people who are here first, which means you're listening and today is March 25th, you're in luck because you have less than 24 hours remaining to enter to win a free one-on-one hypnotherapy and coaching session with me. Guys, this is what I've been talking about. And I don't mean to feel full of it or whatever, but I don't think you guys realize how rare of an opportunity this is. Like, this does not come up very often. I can count on one hand since I've started my business over the past several years where this has been a thing. And in fact, I can't even really take credit for this giveaway at all, and I won't. It's an amazing story how this giveaway came to be. The 2 sessions that I'm awarding in this giveaway actually were donated by a former client of mine. Isn't that so cool? I've had people, and like in the past, I've had people pay for sessions like for their loved ones, which is always a very nice thing to do. But I've never had someone actually like a client straight up say like, here's 2 sessions, give them away to others, like purely because she's seen the effects of these type of sessions and what they had on her own life, and she wanted to pay it forward. And I just think that's so cool. And of course, when she asked me about it, I'm all about the law of karma. I was like, yes, let's do this. I'm down. I'll promote it. And I decided to call it the Full Circle Manifestation Giveaway. And it's kind of a cool story how this all came to be. So back at the end of 2022, I don't know if you've been around here that long or not, that I was running a group hypnosis subscription program. It's similar-ish to the Manifest in Me Vault, although it wasn't just focused on manifestation like the Vault will be, and it was hosted on Instagram, which was really not a good platform for it at all. The Vault is not going to be on Instagram. It's going to be in a much stable platform. But it was a subscription where my clients could access these live weekly group hypnotherapy sessions. And so one day, I just decided to offer a giveaway to my subscribers, where one lucky subscriber would win a free one-on-one hypnotherapy and coaching session with me. And the lucky manifestor here was an amazing woman. I'm just going to call her Catherine to protect her privacy. And so Catherine, she arrived at her free session. And when I say arrived, I mean she logged on to Zoom. All the sessions are virtual. And she was really hoping with that session that she could gain a greater sense of confidence, right? She had been a teacher for like a ton of years, and she felt very confident teaching her students, talking to the parents of her students. But when it came to speaking up in meetings, talking to the principal, giving presentations, things like that, she would find herself freezing. And so she wanted to gain a greater sense of confidence so that she could express her own ideas, her own opinions in group settings and things like that. So she showed up for this free session, and I still remember that session. I honestly do. I just remember hypnotherapy just coming so natural to her. Some people kind of have to learn the ropes a little bit and get used to it, but she was just instantly, she was there, and it was really beautiful to witness. And something just clicked for her. She healed that part of her that was afraid to speak in these group settings. And once she did that, she was able to connect better with people. And that just felt so good. I mean, it was really amazing. And of course, after the session, we kept in touch. She was still a subscriber in the group. And soon after, she shared with me that she had actually found herself speaking up more in meetings. And she felt just so proud of herself for doing something that she had remembered used to be difficult for her, but it was no longer difficult. And so that was kind of when she saw like, whoa, this is what one session can do. She decided to continue with her progress. She enrolled in my one-on-one hypnotherapy and coaching programs several times, actually. And over the course of us working together for 9 months and 18 sessions later, her transformation was insane. Like she literally blossomed in all areas of her life. She built up greater confidence than she could have ever imagined, right? She felt free to speak up, share her ideas. She was leading her dance team. Like she was doing all these things. She developed new healthy habits. She was drinking more water. She was exercising, really good health habits. She overcame old patterns of OCD and anxiety that she had been experiencing for decades. She found a greater sense of freedom. She actually gave herself permission to have fun with all of this and to do more of what she actually wanted to do. Remember how we talked about finding joy in the process? She found that. And I love this. If she made a mistake, she used to beat herself up when she'd make mistakes, like so many of us do. But now when she made a mistake, she no longer took it so personally. She could put it in perspective, right? And that was huge. I mean, all these things really compounded one on one another, and she truly became her best self. So much so that she asked me, she said, is there any way that I could donate, 2 sessions to some people who could benefit, but maybe they've had difficulty affording the sessions? And I mean, my mind was just blown. Like, it was a full circle moment because here she was, someone who was once the recipient of a free one-on-one hypnotherapy and coaching session. I don't know if she would have ever discovered this work if she hadn't won the contest. Here she received that, a session that propelled her life into new and amazing directions. And now she was using her resources to sponsor the ability for other people to experience that same level of transformation. And I just have like goosebumps. Like, it's so cool. It's such a neat thing. And I think it's especially a full circle manifestation moment because the Manifest of Me Vault, which is my new subscription program, is similar-ish to the one that I ran, several years ago, only it's manifestation related. And it's also debuting in a few weeks here too. So it's like that feels like another full circle moment on so many levels. And I just love it. I just love when the universe aligns things like this. So if you're lucky enough to be listening to this show on March 25th, it is not too late. I want you to go to the link in my show notes, or you can just go directly to BrittanyHoops.com/giveaway and enter to win. Why not? What do you have to lose? Allow this legacy of transformation to be yours too. I mean, this is what we talk about when we say butterfly effect, right? The butterfly effect of this work. I want to work with you. I want to see you calling your dreams home. I want you to surprise yourself with how much is possible for you. That's the coolest thing, is when we surprise ourselves. And so I'll be drawing the winners tomorrow, which is March 26th, when that giveaway closes. So be sure to get it in today. And there are even opportunities where you can earn bonus entries too. Up your chances, right? Plus, we're giving away not one session, but 2 different sessions, which means that 2 different manifestors are going to be able to unlock this transformation for their future. So your odds are kind of greater than they've ever been, at least with any giveaway that I've done. So, and I can also kind of tell you this, okay? I know for a fact, unless I have some other generous donor come up, which I fully welcome, this is going to be the last giveaway that we do this year for sure. So don't miss out. All right, manifestors, until next time, I want you to enjoy your journey, travelers, and I'll be sure to catch you on the next episode.
I don't know